Sai Baba revealed to me crucially important messages for devotees about a yajna for wisdom that guides us to unity at this time of splitting disunity. Here I describe how the messages were transmitted to me by way of my ill psychiatric patient. It's important to note, I spoke with Sai Baba about the extraordinary transmission, which he acknowledged, and blessed my work on developing and distributing the information. I consider these messages to be a revelation emanating from divinity, in contrast to mediumship, where information is coming from a lower level awareness. And here is how the drama started. My name is Samuel Sandweiss. I practiced psychiatry for about 40 years, until retiring in 2006, when I had time to turn attention to my most remarkable case. In 1983, about 20 years into my psychiatric practice, a young Western Caucasian woman patient, Jackie, who I had been treating for 6 years for a severe headache and seizure disorder, told me that she was being visited in an inner dimension by an Indian holy man, Satya Sai Baba, who I had known, visited, and written about. She said that he was speaking to her in a strange language. Initially, I thought the visitation and chanting were imagined, and her attempt to manipulate our relationship. I was astounded, however, when a day later I heard her leave fluid and complicated Sanskrit messages on my answering machine recorder, messages that she could write down phonetically and translate.
Let me play this for you and see if you can recall anything, okay?
I am that. Take note, great believer. I am verily the absolute Brahman, the Buddha of boundless light and the absolute truth. I have seen the female principle, who has purified siddhi, psychic power. There is no higher law, morality, than the truth. Whatever form willed by a divine being, that very form the divine being becomes. Then, over the next month and a half, came a stream of 14 messages that told a story. I was able to record some visitations and messages that happened in my office while she was in a trance. Remarkable was that messages contained information from both early Buddhist and Hindu traditions, integrated into a cohesive statement. I stored 11 and a half hours of videotapes until my retirement in 2006, when I had time to unravel the mystery with the help of Sanskrit scholars. Jackie received 14 messages. Here, to show the amount of material gathered, is a quick survey of all the messages. Of course, to understand these messages and their overall meaning, we'll have to analyze each one by one, which I will do in coming posts. Let us consider how important are these messages and the need to take them seriously. First and foremost is that I spoke to Swami about these messages, and that he blessed them and kept my work on them. He said that the vibhuti appearing on Jackie, her Bible, Christian cross, and on the messages was his. Vibhuti appeared on the first message that Jackie brought to my office marking its authenticity. Most dramatic was during Guru Purnima 1983, the culmination of the event, when Vibhuti appeared on Jackie's body and on pictures and objects in the home of the caretaker.
And so the Vibhuti that we're seeing right now was materialized, looked like spontaneously today?
Yes, in an instant.
In an instant? These drops right here, these are drops of Amrita.
Yeah, and
These right over here?
it was dripping down. We were eating it. It was dripping down here. We were eating it.
Dripping down on the dresser here.
Very important was that the voice of the messages identified itself as Parabrahman, and in the second message as Satya Sai Baba, saying that Swami is leading us in this yajna for wisdom, a sacrificial ceremony for wisdom. This first message written by Jackie is a Sanskrit message written in English script.
Brahma pura astika, aham asmi para Brahma, donde impaidiampa satya, asmi sprasa triyoni in suapna, vidyat rupam kamyati devata, chiraj devata, bhavanti.
Here is the meaning of the first message. Believer, the embodiment of divinity. I am the absolute Brahman. I touch you through yoni, female principle, creation, in the dream. Whatever the form the divine wills, the divine can take that form. The voice addresses her as believer, then declares who he is. Aham asmi Parabrahman. I am announcing myself to you, that I am the highest Brahman, Parabrahman. Parabrahman, the highest Brahman, that which is beyond all descriptions and conceptualizations, meaning the potential of everything, the consciousness, pure consciousness, that created the whole universe and universes. In short, divinity. In message number 2, Parabrahman identifies himself as Sai Baba, and that he is the director in our yajna, a sacrificial ceremony for wisdom. Satya Sai Baba is considered by his followers to be a Purna or full avatar, a physical expression of Parabrahman as I have just defined. He directs people to practice the teachings of love found in their own religion, and has said, bring something into your daily practice as evidence of your having known the secret of the higher life from me. Show that you have greater brotherliness. Speak with more sweetness and self-control. Bear defeat as well as victory with calm resignation. Message 2 continues to state that for those grasping for happiness in the sensory material world, he is the origin of desires and the instruments to accomplish and transcend desires. He grants heaven and beyond. He is divine bliss. The messages warn of a negative force, a left-hand teacher who is creating a fearful reality that is harmful to Dharma and wisdom. We, are to counter this fearful reality with the wisdom revealed in these messages. Message 11 describes a left-hand teacher who is Asat and Mahamaya, not true and a great illusion, who is creating a fearful reality that is injurious to the female principle, or wisdom, as we have established in prior posts. Jackie was most comfortable on the floor when trying to relax and recall Sanskrit messages. The level of danger of the fearful reality is concretely expressed in Jackie's panic as we decipher message 11.
Thing with left-handed teacher. Left-handed teacher, not real. Great illusion. And desires me. Wants.
And here is Sanskrit scholar Timal Sina commenting upon the fearful reality.
I personally see that Jackie is confronting against something she sees very dark coming. And she is telling to not fall for something that dark.
The description of the left hand or left-handed teacher does not refer to the physical hand he favors, but to a deviant and fearful path that he teaches. For those who do not know about the tension that has arisen within the Sai organization, let me summarize quickly. After Satya Sai Baba left his body on 24 April 2011, a group centered at the Mudenhali campus claimed that Sai Baba, now in his subtle or light body, was residing at their campus, but only one person, Madhusudan Naidu, could see and communicate with this light body. In my opinion, because of the needs of the devotees and perhaps some paranormal phenomena, along with modern PR techniques, a small group was able to convince many devotees to follow this aberration, this split from the main organization. I am now strongly convinced that the split is the fearful reality described in the messages. The splitting of the Sangha is extremely serious and is described in Buddhism as one of the most heinous acts. These include harming Buddha, killing an arahat, a realized soul, matricide, patricide, and the splitting of the Sangha. This splitting, which should be taken most seriously, is a central reason for my impression that Mudenhali is the frightening reality mentioned in the messages, and that Madhu is the left-hand teacher. Message 13 indicates how close is the left-hand teacher and the fearful reality, the splitting, that is injurious to Dharma and wisdom. Left-hand teacher is not far away from the female principal. The talent of this teacher is making a fearful reality and the injury of the female principal. And message 11 describes the left-hand teacher who is not real and who I identify as Madhu. Left-hand teacher, the teacher in the physical body, is not real. He is a great illusion and masquerading. In reality, this teacher is the cause of suffering. Both sides of a split must overcome any obstacles to unity. But I find Madhu Mudenhali to be the main cause of the current split in the Sai organization, causing the fearful reality. Because of what the messages say, because of my experiences with Swami, and because of my observations about how the split occurred. Such as, it is implausible for me to think that Swami, while still in his body, would move to Mudenhali and announce that he would now reside here and develop an alternative organization with hospitals, service projects, and educational centers, while turning attention away from his prior creations. I also find it strange to think, and I think the general public would also, that devotees would be walking around with an invisible person that only Madhu can see and interpret. Then there are the questionable Madhu claims, such as Swami told him that he was now giving a more advanced teaching like high school level, when previously at Prashanti he gave a limited primary school level teaching. This limitation did not make sense. The purpose of the yajna, to establish a wisdom of oneness, a wisdom that comes from giving up attachment to names and forms of the objective world and attaching to the eternal wisdom of Sai. The purpose of the yajna, for a wisdom of oneness, unity, is stated in the last message 14. Believer, I am the Buddha. Teacher is the divine wisdom. In this discipline, the teacher, divine wisdom, is the absolute truth. As I understand, absolute truth in Mahayana Buddhism is emptiness, non-attachment, similar to the Advaitic path to non-attachment, the Advaitic practice of neti, neti, neti. Not this, not this, not this. This path entails not holding to bodies and feelings, names and forms, being empty of attachments, being free. Swami has said that even his physical form is not ultimate reality. We must find ultimate peace and love in our own Atmic reality. Here Swami tells us about the limitation of his own physical form, and that ultimate reality lies within our own self.
రూపనామం రెండు కూడాను కల్పితమే కానీ అవి సరి అయినటువంటివి కాదు. తాను చావులు పుట్టుక లేనట్టి శాశ్వతుడు. అతను శాశ్వతమైనటువంటి ఆత్మస్వరూపుడే. అట్టి ఆత్మస్వరూపుడికి రూపనామమును కల్పించడము కేవలము మానవుల యొక్క కల్పితములు.
This has been Swami's core teaching to us. All must strive to understand it. All names and forms attributed by man to God are imagination and illusion. God is our own Atmic reality, our own self. Reducing the attraction to name and form of Madhu Mudanhali would help both sides focus on Swami's wisdom of unity. Accepting that Madhu is not an avatar, in fact can be prone to error, would lessen the tendency to deify him in favor of giving up name and form and holding to the wisdom of detachment, oneness, unity. This is the time for detachment. In fact, I consider the deeper meaning of the split is that we are in Swami's yajna to bring out our egos, to more easily identify our imperfections, our erroneous attachments, to release ignorance, and thus rise into wisdom of oneness, unity. Swami has said that his very nature is to destroy our egos. Let us be aware of Swami's inexplicable, infinite, boundless love as he reveals and destroys our flawed egos and grants us peace.